Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So good morning. Welcome to another Market Open stream. Today, let's talk about if a Bitcoin bounce is coming after a fall to 20,000, 21,000. Did we finally find a bottom? Are we finally going to get that bounce? Let's look at some data points about it and talk about what's going on in the world of crypto and what's going on with Celsius. So let's get started. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com and make sure you follow brand new CryptosRUs Clips channel. Good morning, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you guys had a good night of rest. Maybe you DCA'd a little bit. Maybe you had a little to drink. But we are starting a new day here in America. Dow, NASDAQ, S&P. Looks like let's go start green today. Yesterday, obviously, for U.S. market, absolutely horrible. Horrible. 900, negative 900 for Dow, negative almost 600 for NASDAQ. And, of course, Bitcoin had one of its horrific falls that we have not seen in a long time, about 19%. But today we are hovering around 22.3, a little bit higher from our bottom of 20,800, right? So what is going on today, and what about this bounce? Is one coming? Is this the bottom, the true bottom, and we can now finally start building from here? Well, let's take a look at what's going on. Well, one thing I want to mention right off the bat is Coinbase. Yesterday I mentioned about capitulation, especially among the exchanges. Coinbase now joins all these other crypto exchanges. They are going to lay off 18% of their workforce. That is not a small amount. That's 1,100 people from their workforce. Hopefully not from their customer support area, because that is still kind of iffy. But Coinbase is preparing for recession and now preparing for crypto winter, at least according to Brian Armstrong. But we have seen Gemini recently announced, Crypto.com recently announced layoffs, BlockFi announced layoffs. So there's definitely a lot of layoffs right now. So is this a capitulation moment? Is this a bottom indicator that even the exchanges, they are making millions upon millions with trading fees and liquidations, right? Are they even capitulating? Well, it certainly looks like it's the start of it. So that's what's happening. Coinbase stock yesterday was absolutely decimated. I think negative 10%. This morning, a little bit higher. Let's see what happened. But overall, a lot of the Bitcoin-related stocks were killed yesterday. Killed. MicroStrategy, I just want to take a look at them real quick, because they were down 25% yesterday, and they're down slightly more. You know, someone like MicroStrategy, I still have not heard of from Michael Saylor. I don't know what's going on with Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. You know, he was the ultimate Bitcoin bull, seemingly buying Bitcoin at random periods. But I have not seen any recent buys recently. This is the time to be buying, right? Unfortunately, Michael bought early at 8,000, 10,000 and started going up, but he bought a lot at 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, right? Brought his cost average down. But if he wants to bring that down, he needs to be buying now. But his board and others are probably telling him not to, but this is the time to buy. But anyways, MicroStrategy, their stock has not been doing good. But what is good? Well, take a look at this. This is measuring S&P Index and oversold or overbought situations, where if you look at a number of stocks that are actually still above their 50-day moving average, somehow this could be used as an indicator, as a measure of whether or not the S&P 500 is extremely oversold, extremely overbought. And right now, only 4.6% of companies in S&P 500 is still above their 50 moving day average, which is not a good thing. Okay? And if you look at all previous times that has happened, including the COVID crash of 2020, including the bottom that we had in 2018, right? Those 2 times, again, extremely oversold in a number of stocks above the moving average, 50-day moving average, even around here, even below, right? And you could look at what happened then. Kind of looks like the Bitcoin chart. It looks very similar, but it's 8:30. But what's my point? What's my point in this? Well, we're at the same level as the previous 2 dips, right? After S&P has officially entered bear territory, it's getting to that extremely oversold level, just like Bitcoin, just like crypto, right? So this is something to look forward to. Although tomorrow we have a big event, and that is this. Today is the start of FOMC meeting, and it will conclude tomorrow, and Fed Powell will again do a press conference talking about what he's going to do about inflation, right? And now there's talks about going to 75 basis point raise instead of 50 basis point raise. So that's not good. We have never seen that before, and Powell himself said that he has never entertained that before. But now it's seeming like it could be on the table, right? So all eyes are on this, wondering what's going to happen tomorrow, and what about next month, and what about after that, right? Look at this headline. Bitcoin plunge spells trouble for .com era entrepreneur who went all in. See, I like to know what's happening with Michael Saylor. It would be nice if he did the Twitter spaces. I know he used to do a lot of Twitter spaces and stuff like that. What's going on with Michael Saylor? How is he feeling? Is he still the ultra bull he once was? And what is MicroStrategy doing about buying more Bitcoin or not buying more Bitcoin, right? We'd like to hear that. Anyways, off track. All right, what else is there? Well, other things. All right, going back to Bitcoin and crypto, are we going to see that bounce? Have we formed that bottom yet? Well, this is looking at sell volumes, massive sell volumes, going all the way back to 2015, 2018, 2020 versus now. You can see in those periods, definitely massive sell volumes, right? Like you had that one down wick, right? The one scary wick that basically eliminated all the retail people, all hope, right? Like it seemed like, it's just never go get any better, but it always does. So we just had that. We just look at the volume, maybe not as tremendous as previous times. Like think about the volume is much higher and there's much more holders, so that makes sense. But we certainly did have that period yesterday where we had a massive sell volume come in for the day. So does that mean that was bottom, right? So one of the data points I want to show you guys. Also, what about this? This is looking at what happened yesterday versus the COVID crash, right? We did have that massive down wick in the COVID crash, and we hit that 200 weekly moving average. And again, we had that now, and we hit that 200 weekly moving average, right? Does that mean history is going to repeat, and that is now a sign that we will recover? So many people waiting for Bitcoin to hit that weekly, the 200 weekly moving average, and we finally did. Unfortunately, too many people forecasted that we have to hit it, right? It became one of those self-fulfilling prophecies. But now we have hit it, and now we're very, very similar to what happened in 2020 when we had a COVID crash. Even a negative percent, how much we're down from top, is similar. This is also measuring, this is actually from Fidelity. If you look at previous drawdowns from 2021 and both times in 2021, you could see the drawdown from top was about 46%, 43%, and now it's at 50%. Not only that, we are in a channel. So according to Fidelity, this is a good time to be buying. this is very similar to previous times in 2021 when we had a massive drawdown and then Bitcoin continued on its way, right? So another data point. Interesting. Here's one that measures long and short-term holders. And you could see right now we are still heading up. What's interesting about this chart is that every time Bitcoin peaks, okay, we form a top, you could see the long-term holder supply drops. And I was thinking about this. Long-term holders, why would it drop at peaks? Are they actually selling? No, they're not selling. It's because new retail short-term holders come in and drive the long-term holder supply down. It makes sense. When you have FOMO, you have a ton of people coming in, so of course the long-term holders, the number gets diluted by the overall holders, right? So whenever we get a peak, it makes sense that it starts going down because short-term holders come in, and you can see it happen exactly in 2017, 2018, also in 2021. But take a look at now, right? Long-term holders is still climbing, and we haven't had that go down. So that means that obviously the next wave, the next high, right, we'll probably see the same thing, but we haven't seen it yet. And the long-term holders continue to grow. The long-term holder supply continues to grow, and we're at an all-time high, right? But just wait until things recover and the short-term holders come back in again, and that's when things will get wild, right? Just like all previous times before. Here's another one that's just measuring basically, you know, you're looking at this Eliot Wave formation. And again, this is looking at Fibonacci levels rather than weekly moving averages, but it's the same thing, right? You could see previous times when Bitcoin hit this 200 weekly moving average and it hits certain Fibonacci levels and it's forming the same exact pattern that we're seeing down below, right? So from a TA perspective, this is also looking like this is the time to be buying, that the bounce is near, and then we form this fifth wave pattern. Well, that is when Bitcoin is, according to this, like $190,000, $200,000. All right, that's if we're following it, and it's looking like it's eerily similar, right? And it's just not. It's not just Bitcoin. If you look at this, this is measuring Ethereum, and you're looking at, you know, a couple of Fibonacci levels, and it's very similar to the previous rise in 2016 before it went on a massive rise, you know, in 2017. Very similar too. Interesting, right? So bottom line is there's a lot of data, a lot of charts, metrics, right? That is showing that, yeah, this was the moment we have been waiting for, right? We had a massive down, right? We had massive sell volume. We have hit that 200 weekly moving average. And among everything else, the holders are still strong. The addresses is still near all-time high. The fundamentals is still at all-time high. This is the moment to be buying, right? This is what all the data points are showing. In fact, that's what I did. I've been saying that. I've said, I don't know if I had a feeling that this won't. Well, yesterday I said this. I don't think it's going to stop until Celsius gets liquidated, but hopefully that doesn't happen because that would be bad, and they brought their cost average down even more. But, you know, we're getting to a point where we're definitely closer to bottom, if not at bottom, than we are to top, right? And if we are going to be in this game, we got to continue forward and continue to be patient, stay strong, and DCA. And that's exactly what I did last night, right? I actually put in a good amount yesterday. And if we do happen to go lower, I will put more into it. But that's the whole point of DCA. You keep going, you bring the cost average down, and then you stay patient and hold, right? But there are so many data points right now that is showing that, yes, this is that bottom point or close to that bottom point, that this is the time Bitcoin finally recovers and that bounce is coming. All right, so that's what I want to lead off with. Oh, by the way, I did see this. PWC surveyed a ton of crypto fund managers, okay? And I thought I was the only one bullish, but no. Majority of the fund managers they talked to, well, not majority, but close to majority, 42% of the crypto fund managers PwC surveyed thinks that Bitcoin will be between 75 to 100,000 by the end of the year. End of the year, within the last 6 months of this year, they think that Bitcoin will head to 75 to 100,000. And 35% thinks it's anywhere from 50 to 75,000, right? So if you add the two together, that's almost 80% thinking that we will hit our previous high and break into a new high. That's how bullish these guys are. I don't know who the fund managers are, but they're very, very, very bullish. So I'm not the only one that's bullish about Bitcoin. All right, what else is going on? Well, as for Celsius, I did mention, they're very, very desperate at lowering their liquidation price, okay? So started at 22,000, then went down to 19,000, then went down to 17,000. Now it's at 16,800. They keep pumping more and more and more Bitcoin into this vault to stop, to bring down the liquidation price. So hopefully we don't get that nasty downwick, right? Like a quick nasty drawdown to like 16.8 and then recover, because normally, from my experience, you always see the whales drive all the people out by initiating like a huge downwick, and it just liquidates everyone, and it has a casting effect. Hopefully it doesn't happen, because I don't want to see Celsius go belly up, but that is the latest with them. I mean, they also tweeted this out. I accidentally closed it, but doesn't really say anything. They tweeted this out about an hour ago, that they are working as quickly as possible, and we'll share information as it becomes appropriate, when it becomes appropriate. I mean, I would say it's appropriate right now. Acting in the interest of our community remains our top priority. So right now, no one knows, right? But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully they can figure it out. Hopefully people can withdraw. But right now it's not looking good. Now, something else that's not looking good, and I warned you guys about, is this USDD. It has become unpegged since yesterday, and it's still unpegged at 0.98, which isn't too bad. I mean, it's 2 cents off, but this, again, it's an algorithmic stable coin that shouldn't become unpegged, and it is. And this is from Tron, right? And I've said I don't trust Tron at all. They copied basically the same exact model as Terra and UST. When Terra and UST was still very strong, Justin wanted to jump in on a game. He copied the same exact model, the model that has collapsed and has gone to zero. And they copied the same exact model. So is it a surprise that we're starting to see this and some whales are attacking them, right? So Justin says, well, I'm going to deploy $2 billion, right, to fight them off. And he believes he's going to do a short squeeze, right? Again, kind of coming off pretty cocky at this point, just like Do Kwon, because that's who Justin's son is. I hope, for our sake, for crypto's sake, that we don't see another bank run situation happen with USDD and Tron and whatever else that's hooked up to this, whatever their new DeFi system is. But be careful if you're holding on USDD. All right, it's not looking good right now either. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Oh, by the way, yeah, lastly, I did want to talk about entire crypto market cap. It's encouraging to see that there are many people that are DCAing, right? We're starting to see some greens. Ever since last night, I mentioned about how Bitcoin dominance actually dropped tremendously. Yesterday, Bitcoin and Ethereum dropped hard, but many of the altcoins dropped hard, but not as hard. And you're starting to see a bit of rally from some of the altcoins, like Cardano's up 10%, Solana's up 10%, Polkadot's up 10%. There are definitely people that are staying strong and DCAing and taking advantage of the low prices that we are presented with right now. So that is also very encouraging. All right, let's do some Q&A. Is USDT safe? I can't really answer that. If I have an option, I will always go with USDC. I still don't trust USDT that much. Does Voyager earn reward the same way Celsius does? Is Voyager safer since it's a public trade company? I like to think so, but Voyager makes money kind of the same way as Celsius. A little bit different. They lend it out, but I also do think that they participate in DeFi. It has never really come out. Like, I don't think anyone really, Stephen Ehrlich, no one really asked them directly whether or not they participate in DeFi. But I'm thinking they do because they offer such tremendous amount of interest too. So I don't know. We'll have to see if that ever comes out, whether or not they participate in a lot of DeFi projects. Rodolfo says just DCA every 2 weeks, every paycheck. You set your own schedule every month. You could do it every day. Put $1 in every day. It's no, that doesn't make sense because then the fees would kill you. But you just have to set a schedule for yourself. Anyone see the vid of an ETH developer saying he wouldn't stake his ETH? I did not see that. I did not see that. Unpeg because of the huge outflow. I mean, that's usually what happens. The Coin Father just saying thanks for showing me how to open my K5 key fob without breaking it. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that. That's from my card channel. Tiberius, I agree with you. I agree with you there. All right, I'm finally starting to catch up here. What did Sailor tweet? Nothing. I don't know what. I've been looking at Michael, kind of stalking him, but Michael Sailor. When MicroStrategy adopted, this is from 45 minutes ago. Anticipate volatility, structured its balance sheet so it could continue to hold through adversity. This was, and then he retweeted, has a $205 million loan, needed to maintain $410 million as collateral. Okay. Yeah, so this is the one that people are worried about because the last buy for MicroStrategy is when he put down Bitcoin, borrowed against it, and then bought some more Bitcoin with it, right? But obviously you need to worry about margin calls and being liquidated. I mean, the previous price for liquidation, or at least margin call, was around 21,000. That's what his CFO said. But now there's talks about how it's actually 3,500. I think that's if he puts in more collateral, right? So he says he has 115,000 Bitcoin he could put down as collateral to bring the cost average down to 3,500, which would never happen. But that is putting an enormous amount, right, to maintain that loan. But this is what everyone is worried about, and honestly, something that Michael Saylor did not need to do, but he did. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Right now, all this talk about margin calls and liquidations has everyone spooked. Morgan says, thanks, George. Try chasing a knife. A scheduled DCA works better. Good luck. Yes, it's a lot less stressful, too. Do you think there's a chance that DeFi Kingdoms come back if we rally? I mean, there's always a chance. As long as the team doesn't give up and they're still the premier DeFi project in Harmony, they will come back. But, this is a tough moment, right? When their tokens are not doing well. People are starting to hate on them. People are starting to give up on them. This will be a test of whether or not they truly believe and they have that conviction to keep going, right? Many projects during these times, they simply die out because their founders can't cut it, right? If the team from DeFi Kingdoms can, then they will survive and they will come back. Michael Parker, when I become a millionaire from CRO coin, I'd like to come on your show 6 months from now. Okay. No guarantee that I'm going to bring you on the show, but I hope you do. I hope you become a CRO millionaire. Can you pull up Celsius price? Oh, I don't know what Celsius price is. I think it actually stabled out. I don't know anyone that actually buys Celsius. It's up 59% today. And that's obviously because there are certain people that's trying to manipulate at this point. But, yeah. You can do that. It just gets worse. So don't fall for this. This is basically whales making you think, oh, okay, yeah. Everything's good. Buy back in, and then you go get a massive dump again. I saw this way too many times with many other projects. Juan, I'm so happy to see you. Thank you. VeChain partners UFC. Yes, I covered that a couple weeks ago. I think that's pretty big. VeChain never really marketed themselves, but now they're starting to, especially with the West, because they're moving their headquarters to Europe, or they did already. I don't know what to do, buy now or wait. Hey, that's the point of DCA. When you DCA, it doesn't mean that you go all in. You just go a little bit at a time. Spread out your buys, do a little bit at a time. If we do go lower, DCA more. If we don't, great. Then you already picked up toward the bottom. Bobby, up here in Canada, so many stories about FUD, about Bitcoin crashing, but not a peep about how much money was printed or how the government is mismanaging money. I am building a hot air balloon. That's exactly right. But that's why Bitcoiners continue to stay strong, because they know better. They know that the feds, the central banks of the world, and their endless printing, and the cycle that we get stuck in, quantitative tightening, quantitative easing, and all this stuff, it's just like an endless circle. But bottom line is, there's more and more and more dollars and fiat being printed, and at some point, it's unsustainable. I don't know what that point is. It could be literally, I guess, forever, but there will be a point. This is why reserve currencies eventually fail at becoming a reserve currency. Can Luna ever recover in this bear run, both Classic and 2.0? No, it won't, because there's nothing backing it anymore. Corey says, I'm not even sad. I'm getting ETH cheaper than when I originally got in. Yeah, there's a lot of bargains out there. I'll get past my goal of 10 ETH easily if it stays like this. Love it. Good job, Corey. Good job. Jalamas, DeFi is meant to be decentralized. If big institutions like Celsius engage in it, it becomes centralized, which makes it subject to manipulation. Do you think DeFi is safer without big institutions? Yes. I think anything's safer without big institutions. But if you want the big pumps, if you want the big money to come in, well, institutions will come in, right? Will have to come in, let's say. So, yeah, it's whenever big institutions get in, generally speaking, that's when things get screwed up. But that's when big money comes in also. So you just got to find I don't know if we could ever do it, but you got to find a fine line where it's kind of optimized for both. And that's what supposedly the SEC and everyone else is trying to do or the crypto bill is trying to do with some oversight, some frameworks, some regulations. Celsius will return funds to customers. I like to think so, But I think they're, even if they can recover 100% and let everyone withdraw, right? Their credibility is shot. I don't see how they're going to recover from this. What about Cardano? Cardano's just fine. Just fine. So they're still holding in the top 10. And people still love Charles. They're still developing a way. So I think they're going to be just fine. Get your crypto off the exchanges ASAP. I mean, it's always a good idea. Not your keys, not your crypto, right? So make sure you have appropriate amount on hardware wallets or mobile wallets, non-custodial wallets that you control, right? At what point do you go all in with the last of your dry powder? I don't know. If Bitcoin falls below 10,000, it goes back to 3,800 like the COVID crash, I would go all in. I would go all in then. But let's say we don't do that. I don't know. If we get a down wick to 16,000 to liquidate Celsius, something like that, I would consider it. Maybe not all in, but I would go very hard into it. All right, guys. That is it. Overall, what is the U.S. markets right now? It's turned slightly red or slightly green, red. But, still probably not going to do a whole lot today. I mean, it's not going to go up or down a whole lot because tomorrow, that's when, Chair Powell talks about inflation and the rate hike. So most likely the markets will kind of stay stagnant then. But as for Bitcoin, as for all the metrics out there, well, it's looking good. It's looking good. We have finally hit that 200 weekly moving average, which so many people were waiting for, right? And we have hit it. Almost became like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But yet, so many people are still sitting on the sidelines, worried about if we're going to go lower. Just like all previous downs, all previous corrections, right? We just don't know. But that's why we do DCA. That's why we have patience, we stay strong, we focus on the future, and we DCA. And then we could take the guessing out of it and take the stress out of it and take the emotions out of it, right? And that's what I plan on doing, what I have done, and I will continue to do so. So hopefully you guys stay strong and stay focused and stay in the game. All right? I'll see you guys later tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.